Well, welcome to my live show. It's great to have you with me this afternoon or this morning, depending upon where you're connecting. And as you're connecting into the live show, I just want to invite you to be able to share what school you're representing and perhaps what part of the country or what part of the world you're located. I'm grateful to see who is joining in with us on my live show. So it's a great time. We've all just gone through a holiday weekend, and hopefully you were able to spend some time with your family, and maybe you couldn't travel very far, do the typical things that you would do over Memorial Day weekend, but hopefully you were able to have some downtime and be able to enjoy that time with your family along the way. So thank you so much for joining in. So appreciate you being a part of the show. Wendy's joining in from JDS in Seattle. So great to have you here. And we have a guest here from Ardmore, Oklahoma. Again, if you're joining in from my inner circle group, then it doesn't identify who you are in my comment section. Noelle's here from Wilmington Montessori School. Great to have you here. And we also have members of the North Star marketing team joining in. So it's great to have you part of the show. And you'll be meeting three of my special guests in a little bit. Marsha's joining in from St. Stephen's and St. Agnes School in Alexandria, Virginia. And Tracy's here from the Winston School in Dallas. Great to have you, Tracy. And I've had the opportunity to work with the team at the Winston School. So again, as you're joining in, just let us know where you're from. And we'll be glad to acknowledge you. Gina's here from Columbia Academy in Maryland, also another school that I've had the opportunity to work with. And Jennifer's identifying herself from Oak Hall Episcopal School, another school that I've had the opportunity to be able to partner with through my Enrollment Catalyst program. You know, one of the things about COVID-19 is that we've all had to pivot, and I've certainly had to adjust in my own strategies. My travel essentially stopped. You know, looking at January and February and early March, I was traveling every week. I was in one or two new schools every week during that time frame. My schedule was completely crazy. And then all of a sudden travel changed and couldn't go and visit places. So I had to pivot and adjust. And three schools that I had scheduled to do site visits actually shifted to virtual meetings. So I conducted a virtual assessment of their enrollment and marketing effort. And then actually, I am launching my virtual enrollment catalyst program. So I actually have different price points for schools that I work with. And the virtual program allows for schools to be able to engage with me so that an assessment can be conducted. You can be involved in watching recorded training videos and best practices for enrollment and marketing strategies, put together a plan, and then I provide coaching along the way. So in a way, it's everything that I do in a customized site visit for a school, except for we're doing things virtually, and there's assignments and so forth that you're doing on your own. So if that's something that is of interest to you, let me know. I'm excited that in a week and a half, I'm actually going to be traveling again. I have my first school that I'm going to be visiting to conduct a 2-day site visit. And so I'll be on their campus, a school in northern Georgia, helping them with their enrollment and marketing effort through my Enrollment Catalyst program. So looking forward to getting back out on the road again and traveling the country and working with schools. So if that's something of interest to you, certainly let me know. But that's obviously not the purpose of my live show today, because we want to talk about an important subject. And so as we think about where we're at in COVID-19, it's kind of all over the map in terms of where states and countries are at in terms of what they're allowing their citizens to be able to do. So as we think about where we're at in this journey, where we've had to pivot, you know, we've all had to adjust our strategies. And so as we think about where we're at today, you know, one of the great things about, the end of May is that, we're approaching summer. And so as we approach summer, the sunglasses come out and, we can enjoy the sunshine. We can get outside. I was coaching a couple schools yesterday in the Boston area and also in Michigan. And they were talking about 80-degree weather for the first time. And so here in Florida, that's been the norm for several months for us. So but we're excited about summer, even though it's not the official day of summer yet. It feels like the season is upon us. And so as we think about summer, it's important for us to look at our inbound marketing strategies and what we're doing to effectively reach families along the way. And so considering where we're at in our marketing and enrollment cycles, I thought it would be important for us to talk about this, because as we're seeing the pandemic extend into the summer months, we need to continue adapting our online marketing strategies to reach our families at home. And so that's why we focus this live show on this very important topic. And so I've invited 3 special guests from North Star Marketing to join us. And so first, I'd like to introduce to you Kaleen Goodeill. Kaleen, welcome. Glad that you're here.
Thank you, Rick. It's good to be here.
Yeah, and you were a guest on one of my first shows. And so enjoyed your participation and involvement on that show. But tell us a little bit about your background, Kaleen.
Yeah, I'd love to. So I have been with North Star Marketing for about 3.5 years now, and I get the pleasure as serving as an education marketing manager to lead our school partners in an effective online marketing strategy that grows enrollment. And before my time with North Star, I was a marketing and enrollment director at Riverside Christian School in Yakima, Washington. So I've got that firsthand experience of balancing all of the jobs, wearing all of the hats, as Rick and I have spoken on before, and can really relate to my clients I have now. And I get the opportunity to help partner with them and take off some of that load and drive that online marketing strategy for them.
Excellent. Very good. Well, glad that you're here with us. I want to introduce our second guest, Mr. Clark Morgan. Hey, Clark.
Hey, Rick. How are you doing?
Doing well. As I describe Clark to schools across the country and whoever I'm talking to, I always mention that you're the guru of online inbound marketing. So, Clark, tell us a little bit about your background and how you became this guru.
Yeah, I guess.
Do you like the word guru, by the way? Does that fit you?
I wouldn't profess myself as a guru, but I love inbound marketing and digital marketing. It's always been a passion of mine. It's actually how I came to North Star about, I guess it's 8 years ago. Currently, I'm Chief Operating Officer at North Star. I help to oversee kind of the day-to-day operations at North Star. Also work with our marketing managers, our education marketing managers, on crafting digital strategies for our schools. And so, I started out actually. I had an agency before North Star in the direct marketing and lead generation space. And as things started to move more and more online, more and more of my attention got pushed there. And that's actually how I ended up meeting Andy at North Star, and have spent the last 8 years specifically focused on digital marketing, primarily for schools.
Excellent. Very good, Clark. Grateful that you can be here with us. And last but not least, want to introduce to you Andy Lynch. Andy, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks, Rick. Good to be here.
Yeah, Andy, you and I have known each other for like 15 years.
It's been a minute.
It has been a while. It's amazing how quickly time goes by, and for you, 3 kids later, and here you are, and your company's been around now for 20 years. So tell us a little bit about. Go ahead. Tell us a little bit about North Star.
It's been a real blessing.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about North Star and some of the things that you guys specialize in.
Yeah, as you mentioned, I started North Star straight out of college in 2000. In 2001, we started working with our first school and have it's been a significant percentage of our portfolio ever since then. We're now exclusively focused on the education market. It's just it's fulfilling work to be able to come alongside schools and help them advance their missions and provide some marketing leadership for them and help them think clearly about how to think strategically around the marketing enrollment effort. So it's been a lot of fun partnering with you, working with many schools over the years, and I think that'd be helpful for us to spend a couple minutes talking about just what that looks like for us to work together.
Yeah, that's a great lead in to this topic, Andy. Often schools will ask, Rick, what do you do through Enrollment Catalyst, and how does that relate to what North Star Marketing does? So the way I describe it is, I'm a strategist, so I'll come along and conduct an assessment or an audit of your entire enrollment and marketing effort. I'll look at admissions, retention, marketing strategies, tuition and financial aid, because all of that makes up, your components for your comprehensive marketing effort. And then I'll provide an extensive set of recommendations for what a school needs to do to move forward. And that's where North Star Marketing often comes alongside, because schools can partner with us to be able to fulfill certain objectives of the plan. So, for example, if I'm recommending that the school needs a rebranding effort, North Star could do that. A new website, you guys could design it. What we're talking about today, paid search and inbound marketing strategies implemented. That's often where you guys will come alongside and be able to partner with the school. So that's typically what I would say to a school to describe how our relationship works along the way. I don't know if you want to add anything to that, Andy.
Yeah, it sets us up to do great work when we've got that clarity in terms of that 300 some odd page strategy that you put together.
That's right.
Little light reading for us as we get started. But
exactly.
Yeah, it's been a great partnership, and delighted to be here to talk about this really important topic, because as schools are heading into summer, we've all got our glasses on as we're anticipating summer as well. But the reality is there's still a lot of work to be done as we head into these summer months.
And you like that timing where we all took our glasses off at the same time? So that was
you don't want to know how many times we had,
exactly.
COVID bump.
That's wrong side. I'll do it both sides. That way I get it. It's harder than it looks.
You have no idea how many times we practiced that.
Right. So let's jump in. We've got a great topic ahead of us.
Let's do it.
And let's take a look at some of the issues that schools are facing in the summer. Summer's upon us, whether you finished up school last week or still winding down, you got another week or so to go. What are schools experiencing right now as they move into the summer months?
Yeah, I think it's good to level set on that question. And as we head into summer here, schools have successfully, independent schools successfully pivoted to distance learning. Perhaps some of their neighboring schools had a tougher time. It's not unusual for us to have conversations with schools we work with across the country to hear about what some of their peers are experiencing. And in some school systems, some districts just called it quits early because couldn't quite get it together. And that's really unfortunate for those families. But coming out of that, there is a climate of uncertainty for families, and they know what their experience has been like at home, and for many of them it has been a mixed bag. Some were very much underwhelmed by the experience they saw their kid having. Some of them had to become part-time teacher in ways that they had never anticipated they would have to. They never saw themselves as homeschooling, and this just affirms the fact that they will not be homeschoolers. And you've got issues that have bubbled up where their kids learning at home have perhaps opened their eyes to some realities about where they are and what they either were or were not getting. And this is true. We're talking about public education, talking about private education. The issues that have bubbled up in this season have parents sort of scratching their heads thinking about what should we expect going into the fall. For marketing admissions professionals, whereas by now you should have a pretty good sense of what things are looking like heading into the fall, we're consistently hearing parents are holding back on that decision, wanting more clarity, perhaps even saying they're going to wait until August. But you have pivoted. You figured out how to do the virtual tours, the virtual open houses, and you've hopefully had a fairly steady stream of those. Still figured out how to move forward in this season. But as you're looking at your summer break, you may be thinking, I don't know if I'm going to get the break that I thought I would because our numbers aren't where they need to be. So how are we going to pivot our plan to really drive interest through the summer? And it's probably not through a bunch of direct mail. It's probably not through taking out a bunch of print ads. If anything, I hope that this season has convinced schools of the significance, the importance of digital, not just in this season, but moving forward. before we start talking about your digital strategies, I think it's also important just to reorient around what's happening in our prospective families' worlds. They're done with school. they're done with COVID. They're ready to go on vacation. Unfortunately, vacation's probably going to look different this summer than it has in the past. For some, perhaps they've had firsthand. The COVID pandemic is very real because of firsthand experiences, either in their family or perhaps coworkers who've gotten sick. For others, there's just hey, I'm not concerned about it. We won't worry about it until we have to. And then for others, there's just a very real fear of the unknown, and looking ahead to the fall. They know that they don't want to repeat what they just had, but they're not sure how they can move forward, what that looks like in this season. It's a huge decision where you're going to put your kid, and they don't know if they can make that decision with confidence without stepping on campus and not sure what those constraints are. So as we try to get inside of our audience's head, it's really important that we think through some key questions. And first, before we talk about the digital strategies, we think through the messaging.
Yeah, and messaging is certainly so important as we look at the topic that we're focusing in on today. Just one thing I wanted to mention: one of the schools that I'm coaching in Tennessee, they pivoted successfully. And they've had a series of virtual events. In fact, they told me yesterday that they've had 81 parents attend those virtual events. So a successful pivot is so important. Yeah, it is. It's phenomenal. But, as we think about the adjustments that we're making, it's important that we also consider how we should adapt messaging. And so I think that's an important topic for you to be able to address, Andy, as we look at this.
Yeah, as we really dial in our messaging, it's important that we ask ourselves two questions about where our prospective families are. And the first is, what emotions are they experiencing? What are they feeling right now? And I'm actually going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to actually pose these two questions to our audience. So I welcome your feedback. What do you think? What sort of emotions are your prospective families working through right now as we head into summer? And then question two is, what questions are they asking? What are the questions that they have about next fall? Because as we look at those two questions, there's tremendous insight to be gleaned around how to articulate our messaging moving forward. Certainly, as we think about what they're feeling, there's uncertainty. There's probably a sense of relief that this is over, that this school year is over. I see that. I don't know who you are because you come through as Facebook user from Rick's Inner Circle, but there's stress, there's fatigue. And usually at the end of the school year, they can put some of this aside and say, okay, we're done with that. And we don't have to worry about it again for another 90 days. And they're tired. I totally get that. They don't want to go to virtual school in the fall. Yeah, that's a really good one. Anybody else? Keep piling on there. How about this? What questions are they asking? What are the answers they're searching for? Certainly, the obvious one is, what are things going to look like? And that's not all within the school's control. If they're feeling anxious, that's a good one. I think one of their major questions is, what are the options going to be? What is the on-campus experience going to look like? And we understand that, again, some of that is going to be regulated by what can and can't happen based on local government. And in that, I think we find some really interesting opportunities for pivoting our message. They want definitive answers, and there aren't any yet. Yes, great point. So we have stuff that's in our control, stuff that's out of our control that we're messaging about here. But when I think about how to articulate that narrative arc that's going to animate the digital strategy, just a few guidelines here. First, we need to communicate with empathy. We have to be extremely human in these conversations, and we can't talk over them. We can't talk past them. We can't talk down to them. I think there's an opportunity to really empathize, and we have some firsthand experience with this, because having walked through this, we as in marketing and missions professionals have had to rewire how we do what we do. So number two, lean into the questions they're asking. Even if we don't have fully formed answers, silence around key questions they're asking is not helpful. I think that they need to understand what their reality could be if they wait. I see our friends from Columbia Academy are online. We were chatting with them yesterday. A classroom that could hold 36, due to regulations, government is saying you can only have 9 in that classroom. Well, what does that mean for their capacity as a school? And I think many schools are going to be dealing with that, to where their total capacity is significantly limited for an on-campus experience. And if parents are thinking they're going to wait until August before making a decision, the inventory of seating may be very low among independent schools. So my encouragement to you as you think about how to pivot your strategy is to first think about your back to school plan as a marketing campaign. It's not just an internal document. There's an opportunity here in this season for you to make your back to school plan, even if it's not completely fleshed out, for those scenarios to be at the center of your marketing strategy, your messaging strategy as you head into the summer months. So if that's not in a format where you are comfortable publishing that yet, I would encourage you, make that a top priority as you wrap up end of school year marketing activities, is let's get this to the point where we can talk through the different scenarios. At North Star, that's one of our priorities here, is building out that framework here over the next several days to help our clients make that transition. But that's the question that parents are needing to have answered right now. And this should be at the core of your campaign. They also need to understand there's a sense of urgency that they're going to have to make a call. That they need to have some sense of the longer they wait, the less space there is likely to be. And they need to understand that reality, not to turn up the pressure on them, but to help them understand the reality that could be facing them in the fall. And then just giving them some sense of confidence that, yes, you can do this in a virtual world. You can make a solid decision, and we'll help you figure out how to do this. So those are some key themes that schools can be thinking about first to pivot the message before we talk about the mechanics of actually delivering the digital strategy.
Yeah, thanks, Andy. I really appreciate you sharing that, because that's so important for us to consider, the pivot that we need to continue to make, and, the messages that we need to consider. But in a way, it's not just enough to reframe our messaging. We have to connect, certainly, in a meaningful way, with families where they are right now. And that's important for us to look at the marketing funnel in terms of our connections with families along the way. And so it's important for us to consider what that marketing funnel looks like. And I know, Kaleen, you spent a lot of time working with schools that we're both partnering with, or you guys are just working with, and talking through that marketing buyer's funnel and all the steps and components of that. And so I was wondering if you could help us by understanding that marketing funnel and how that works.
Yeah, my pleasure. Rick, you can start sharing my screen. We've got some helpful graphics to go alongside this. But as Rick mentioned, I work with many marketing and missions professionals across the country, and all have a wide range of experiences or levels of understanding of the marketing funnel. So for our purposes today, I'd like to get back to the basics, just so that we can understand how this marketing funnel aligns with the buyer journey, specifically for our prospective families now and as they head into summer with these questions that Andy has brought top to mind for us. So this graphic that I'm going to walk through creates a clear path of what that marketing funnel looks like. And when I was in the seat as a marketing and enrollment director learning inbound marketing, I felt like I learned best by example. So after I walk through the marketing funnel with you all, I'd like to share a few examples from one of our schools, just so that you can be able to digest this and see what this looks like implemented. So as we walk through this, know that some examples are coming to bring this to light. So let's dive in. Step number 1 of the marketing funnel is generating awareness. And we do that through a series of campaigns. You can see here on the screen, we have social ads, Google ads, social posts, website graphics, calls to action can fall under there, and blog posts. And in this unique season and in this summer that we've never really experienced before like this, social to me and our team is king. We've been encouraging schools, if they haven't already, to run social ads and make sure that that visibility and that brand awareness is key. Because at this phase in the buyer journey, parents are realizing they have a problem to solve, whether it's finding a preschool for their 4-year-old, to navigating the preteen, the trepidatious pieces of preteen and hormones and all of that. They're starting to think through those questions and look for answers. And as a school, it is your job to position your brand and have strong brand awareness and answer some of these questions that parents are having. And having a strong presence on these platforms is key. So as you're reviewing these, I'd encourage you just to do a quick pulse check on where your school's at in these platforms. And if you assess this and see, hey, we're doing pretty good, we've got some visibility across these areas, I'd also challenge you to think through, what are you communicating? Does that message align with what Andy just shared? Are you speaking with empathy? Are you connecting with them on that level? And are you just talking about the school, or are you positioning content to, again, answer those questions that parents are having? Beyond generating awareness, we move into a landing page. And this is key in capturing the interest of our families. One of the biggest gaps we see for schools is that they'll be running these social ads, Google ads, and even blog posts, and then just sending parents to the homepage. So they're spending big dollars with Google ads and Facebook and Instagram, and not knowing or having the ability to track that ROI on whether those traffic and website visits are even turning into anything. Are they converting to a page? You don't know. But the beauty of having a well-designed landing page is that you are able to track that. And later in this, Clark's going to share some key pieces to an effective landing page. So I'm excited to dive into that a little bit more. But the landing page is instrumental in capturing that interest of the parent, where they complete the form on the landing page. And once that's completed, they're taken to a download page. And on that download page, that is where you are delivering value to the family. So in exchange for their information, again, not a lot of information, just name, phone number, and email is all you really need for that first point of contact. You will deliver value in exchange for that information, whether that's through a resource like a guide or ebook, or a gated content piece like an open house, a virtual open house or tour. From there, the rubber hits the road, and your admissions team gets to work with nurturing these families and engaging with them to make sure they have a clear path forward after they've shown interest. And so I see a balance here in engaging with families in doing some of that automated through an email lead nurturing sequence, where you're hitting them right away after they hit that download page with some resources in their inbox. And once that's complete, you can hit them again 2 days later, an additional 2 days later. I have schools that vary that timeline of when those emails come in. That's totally flexible on the platform you use, but it's critical in the first 24 hours and in the week to come to have consistent messaging with these families and continue to provide value to them through additional resources. With that, it can happen immediately upon that download page or in those subsequent emails that are sent to them. But that, again, your admissions team's coming in to have those virtual conversations now. We used to, I think, rely on the tour to woo families over and have them experience campus culture. And now this is the time where we're trying to do that from a distance and do that via Zoom, FaceTime, what have you. But again, this is the important part of when you are having those conversations with families, determining the fit. Is it a good fit for their family based off of location, price, everything? And are they a good fit for the school? That's also an important question as your admissions teams vet each family that comes through. But through those conversations and that lead nurturing, the goal is to move them towards that application. And if that fit is right, the shoe fits, then bingo, we have an enrolled student. But Rick, I realize that's a lot. We've covered months of work in this one graphic, and I can see where people watching today may feel overwhelmed by that. And the beauty, we'll be speaking about our research campaign here in a few minutes, but what I love about the research campaign is that it includes all of these elements. It's not just an ebook. Our team has thought through and built out this full marketing funnel to be able to be turnkey for schools. So if you think through this and look at this graphic, that's months and months of work if you were going to do this on your own. But our team's worked really diligently over the last 2 months to make this a turnkey campaign for you, so that it's a matter of a week we can have all these items turned around and have an active campaign generating new interest in the school, which is really exciting. But before we move on, I want to show you a few examples of what this looks like in each section of the buyer journey in the marketing funnel. And I want to give a quick shout out to our friends down at Legacy Christian Academy in Frisco, Texas. They have recently partnered with North Star and specifically engaged with the research campaign. So this is just a short preview of what one of the social ads we're running for them looks like. There's a full video that walks through the research campaign, but this is an ad shown to families in their local area. And once a family clicks through to the ad, they're taken to a landing page. Again, we'll break down the features and elements of a impactful landing page in a moment, but this is their landing page in the flesh. Once they download that landing page, they're taken to this ebook where they can, this is, again, that value add resource for families that really is the bulk of what they need to evaluate. And again, this research guide is helping families navigate and find the right private school without leaving their home. And again, we can't just leave it there and hope they call us. We need to nurture them. And in that email nurturing, we include additional value add pieces. And this is one of the cut sheets included in that we've developed that helps walk prospective families through the virtual admissions process at their school specifically, linking them to their application, walking them through step-by-step of that process.
That is great, Kaleen. I love the flow chart that you shared. And I think that's such a helpful resource for schools. And, that's something that you all could benefit from, of literally taking a look at that and mapping out each step, whether you're doing that on your own or you're using, North Star or myself or a combination to be able to accomplish this, along the way. So thank you so much for walking us through that so that we can understand it. And, because I know it works, as I work with schools, I'm attempting to try to take them through each step of the process as they're trying to generate leads and then be able to nurture them along the way. So, Clark, we're talking about paid search and social and organic content, and all these things work together. Can you just give us an overview of how these different channels work together, how they might complement each other along the way?
Yeah, definitely, Rick. I like to, I guess, give a example of these channels kind of like a trio of superheroes. I kind of think of them as a Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman kind of all put together. So it gives you a really great combination. But understanding the benefits of each channel is really important. Just some advantages of paid search. One of the great things about paid search is that if you need to drive leads really quickly and get quick results, paid search is fast. You're going to get immediate top of the page visibility in your target geography on Google using paid search. It's also just going to help you to capture prospective parents that are actively looking for a solution. It's typically those searchers, especially with a lot of the keywords we use in targeting for those campaigns, they're pretty low-hanging fruit. Paid search also just generally leads further down the road. Those leads are typically further down the road in the buyer journey for prospective parents that are actually considering schools, so they can make a decision pretty soon. So it's definitely a place that you're going to want to be visible. Paid search also just improves local brand awareness over time. It keeps your school front and center around really key search topics that your audience uses when they are searching on Google. And one of the things I love too about paid search is that it is very clear and you can get measurable results from it. As we work with our schools, it's something that we can easily just capture, track the leads from on our campaigns that we're running. and we're able to then go and show our schools a measurable ROI on their marketing spend. Some of the advantages of paid social, again, in like fashion, it significantly increases brand awareness and reach in your target geography. I think there's just a big opportunity with display ads and boosted content to put your brand in front and center really earlier up in the buyer journey at the awareness stage, when parents are actually thinking about a change, but perhaps they haven't started the process yet. And this really gets you in front of your prospects ahead of your competitors. As you know, the quicker you can get them on the phone, get them in for a tour, the probability of you converting that prospective family into an enrolled family is going to be a whole lot higher. Also, just the enhanced targeting that's available through paid social to get in front of your ideal audience. You can target prospective moms, prospective parents of preschoolers in a specific geography where you want your ads to show up at. So they don't have to be searching on an actual topic like with paid search to see your message. They're going to encounter it natively while they're using Facebook or Instagram. And then since most social engagement happens on mobile devices, you're also just going to gain a strong visibility for mobile users. So I think that's one of the great advantages of social. People are constantly using it on their mobiles, so it's a great place to get in front of them where they're on the devices that they're interacting on. And then finally, paid social just helps to maximize your content marketing efforts. So if you're doing any type of content that you're producing and you need to get that visible to your audience, paid social is a great way to promote that out there to get it in front of the people that you want to see it. This kind of leads to the advantages of the organic on-site content piece. That's kind of the staple point of your inbound marketing strategy is that content SEO part. And this is really whereas paid social and paid search can be a bit quicker acting, that online content that you're producing is going to be really a long-term strategy to build a competitive advantage over time. It's also going to give you a competitive advantage at a much lower cost, because as you begin to show up organically for a lot of the key search topics that your audience is looking for, it's going to help reduce your paid ad spend. I use the analogy of a monopoly board. If you've got a paid search ad showing up top of the page, and then you've got a couple of organic listings on that same page as well, the probability of that prospective mom clicking on one of your ads or one of your listings is going to be a whole lot higher. And if they're clicking on an organic spot, that's over time, that's going to reduce the amount of paid spend that you're having to shell out on Google. It's also content that if it's on your website and well optimized for SEO, it's going to help you to show up in the organic results across a broad array of different types of topics. I think really focusing on transforming your website into a content hub. I know, Rick, you talked about inbound marketing strategies in your last post, and you mentioned content as a big component of that, but that's really going to help you rank for a wide range of relevant topics that is not only going to drive more visitors to your website, but it's going to help improve engagement for those visitors once they get on your website. And time spent on your website after a searcher finds you on Google is definitely going to be one of the ranking factors that Google uses to determine how relevant your website is to show to their visitors. So you want great content that's geared around relevant problems, relevant pain points for your audience, and that way Google is going to see your website as a trusted source, and it's going to find it very relevant or see it as very relevant and helpful to your users. As I mentioned earlier, paid search, social, and inbound are really that perfect marketing trifecta for getting results, and they do very much work in tandem to just help to attract your audience through the ads. It's going to be the great content that you're helping to promote out there through either search or paid display on social, and ultimately that's going to help convert them into leads that you can nurture to boost enrollment.
Excellent, Clark. I am so honored that you read my most recent blog post. just to know that the online inbound marketing guru of North Star Marketing took the time to read what I had to say. So thank you. But I appreciate you sharing, and definitely a lot of insight there. It's very helpful for us to understand this. And, we talked about the concept of a lead magnet several times. Mm-hmm. And so I'd love to just hear a quick overview on what a lead magnet is and how does it work and why is that an important part of the strategy. So Kaleen, I know you're going to share.
Yeah. So in our world of school marketing, a lead magnet, say that 10 times fast, comes in the form of a content offer that's targeted at the prospective parents. And really, simply put, as I explained in the marketing funnel, it's collecting their basic information in exchange for something that's adding value to their life, helping them in their search. And again, this can take the form of an ebook, a guide, a virtual open house, or a tour. Just, again, something that they will download that helps them in their search. And the problem we see when we first partner with a lot of schools is that there either is no lead magnet and there's no offers on the website, or schools have them and they're not gated. They're just given out for free, which is very kind and generous, but it's not helping you in your just your goal to acquire more inquiries and enrollment. So we really encourage you gate that information. We ask you don't ask them a ton of information to receive that. Again, just name, phone number, and email. But again, the goal is to provide value to them. And I see this fitting into two different ways or opportunities inside that buyer journey. Thinking back to that marketing funnel at the awareness level, it's important to hit home on the age and stage specific questions that parents have. So really diving in and thinking through what a mother of a incoming preschooler is experiencing. What is she wanting to know? How to prepare her 3 or 4-year-old for a school setting? What are the motor skills that they need to develop? How can she prepare them at home for that schedule? There's a lot of great content you can build out for each age and stage that is extremely valuable for parents, especially preschool and those younger grade levels. Moms eat this content up, and it can be really effective in building out those funnels for your admissions team to nurture. But I think another piece that schools often...
Kaleen, if I may.
Yeah, please go.
Just to comment on that, the significance of age and stage. I think it's important to realize that while families buy into a culture, they buy a specific grade level. Mm-hmm. They're ultimately making a decision around the fit at the kindergarten level, the 4th grade level, the 9th grade level. They might appreciate what you're doing as a whole, but they have to feel really good, really informed about what's happening in the grade that they're going to be putting their child into, and the subsequent grades that follow, assuming they're not coming in as a senior. So they're very much interested in help me understand by age and stage what that would feel like. Educate me on that. But I see an awful lot of schools that, hey, help us work on our message, as if they only have one. If you only develop a single message, your messaging stays so high level that it doesn't really have the texture needed for a parent to really grab onto it. It's just sort of generic, and can sound very similar to competitors. But by really dialing in by age and stage, now you get into meaningful content that offers true differentiation and value for where they are. And this translates into funnels that work all the way through your website, from that generating of awareness in terms of your content strategy and your ad strategy, all the way through to specific action steps by age and stage. So we could do a whole webinar just on that concept of age and stage, but just understand the significance as we head into the summer months. Bear in mind, people are looking for specific information for age and stage, not just general information about the school. Thank you.
That's a great point. Great point, Andy. And I think another confusing piece, focusing on the lead magnet specifically, this is not a school-centric piece. Again, this is mostly aimed at discussing that problem and helping find a solution for the parent. It is branded with your brand and your logo and your colors, and it can speak to that specific program, that preschool program at your school at the very end. But again, a clear reminder that it is not a school-centric piece. But as you move them further down into the marketing funnel, and we're moving into that consideration phase where they're really vetting their options of the schools, that is when you can deliver a more school-centric piece. In an ebook format, it would be like a parent info packet that talks through your academics, your programming, your athletics, and so on. Most schools have this in a form of a view book, but often it is, again, not gated. So using that as a great tool to deliver and share more of your culture through a packet. And then more recently, which we've all experienced in developing virtual tours and open houses. I've seen a wide variety of how schools have delivered this, and it's been fun to see the creativity behind it. But I've seen many schools gate that content. Maybe they have a brief tour live on their site, but then gating an open house that goes deeper into the administration and leadership team talking through the school, maybe some feedback from parents or an interview with a parent to talk about the culture and their experience at the school. But again, another great opportunity to use what you've already developed thus far as a lead magnet tool as you head into the summer.
Excellent. Thanks for clarifying exactly what a lead magnet is and how that works. And as we continue to move forward, now I think it's important to think about what is a landing page and why is that important. As I work with schools in assessing their enrollment and marketing effort, one of the mistakes I see is that they'll invest in a paid search campaign, maybe with someone local that they're hired to do this, but they'll neglect the importance of what we're talking about, the landing page, the lead magnet, because those are essential ingredients. And I'm not trying to steal your thunder, Kaleen, as you're talking about this, but I wanted to reemphasize the importance of this. So share with us, the importance of a landing page from your perspective.
Yeah, Rick, I'll take that question. I think there's a lot of different components to a landing page that are super important. I like your analogy there. You mentioned because if you drop people out onto your website, we see that as a common issue. People spend a lot of money on paid search. They drop them out on the homepage of the website. And unless you've got really, really well-engineered conversion funnels, and these would be clear paths by age and stage from your homepage or whatever page you're landing on to direct them exactly to the actions you want them to take in a very clear way, chances are it's going to be like dropping somebody off in a super mall they've never been to. They're going to get distracted by links. They're going to go to different places. They may not be able to find what they're looking for quickly enough and get frustrated and leave. So the great thing about a landing page is you can engineer a very distinct conversion funnel that is designed to give them exactly what they're looking for based on what they're searching for, and also convert them into a lead that your school can follow up with. Kaleen, if you're pulling up, I think, example of the legacy landing page that we're using right now for the research campaign. And some of the great components that you want to have baked into your landing page, some of those elements are, one, a relevant headline. That headline should tie to your upstream ads, and also the search intent for that searcher, if it's paid search, or if they've seen a specific display ad on a social campaign and they click on that, you want that headline to be very relevant to what it is they saw or what it is they searched for. If they click on that and they get to the landing page and it's talking about something totally different, you could potentially lose them really quickly. You also want your orientation copy. You can see here on this page right below the headline, you've got tight orientation copy that resonates really quickly with your audience's pain point. As you continue down on there, you're also going to see content beneath that talks about research from home, explore virtual admissions, enroll with confidence. Those are kind of solutions that they're looking for based on their problems that you're kind of hitting them with. It's digestible content they can read really quick and consume fast. Kaleen, if you'll scroll back up just a little bit, you notice there's a video baked into this landing page, and video is a great way to improve engagement on your landing page, as well as it's been proven to improve conversion rates as well. But the longer you can keep someone on your landing page and engage with content, that's a really good signal for Google. They're actually going to be looking at When you click on an ad, or Facebook's going to be looking at when they click on a display ad and they land on the page, how long is that person staying on the page? Are they engaged with the content? And did they take an action? And that's going to improve a lot of your scoring based on the algorithms those use to make sure your ads show up and they get the confidence scores that they need. So you definitely want to, when you can, include video in those to just improve your conversion rates there. And then next, if you look here, there's a real clear path to action. You've got a CTA down there with a directional cue with the arrow. It's really clear what action that they're supposed to take there. They're going to download this research guide to get more information. They're going to click that into their information. Keep your form. You want to keep your form to a few fields. One of the big mistakes we'll see with schools is they'll get someone to a landing page and they want there's 20 fields on there that everything except for your blood type. A prospective family or a mom that's just interested in learning about your school, she gets there and sees that she's got to give her life's history on a page. It's going to be a bit frustrating. The goal here is just to find out who they are. You want to make sure if you've spent a lot of money on paid ads or you've got great organic content that's going to drive someone to a landing page, that they don't get to your landing page or to your site and leave as a ghost. So here are the goals to capture who they are so you can continue the discussions with them. So those are some of the I think the big important pieces or elements of the landing page that you'll want to make sure are included.
Yeah, thanks, Clark. That was very helpful to see that. And, part of your research campaign is, I think it's exciting because you guys have developed this turnkey campaign and, it's timely, for schools to consider. And so I'd love to just hear a little bit more about this and how schools could potentially even engage with you all for this type of a campaign that they could implement at their schools.
Yeah, sure. I'll take that, Rick, and you can pop my screen up there. I came across this earlier this week, and it's just a stark reminder that it is not business as usual come fall, which means that this enrollment period is anything but normal. Could you imagine this being your experience in the cafeteria when you were a kid? That's going to be part of our kids' history. So the big question that we were pondering heading into this as a firm is we've got a lot of schools who tell us, gosh, if we can just get families on campus, 90% of the time we could close that deal. We just got to get them here. So success looked like getting them on campus. Well, guess what? You have not been able to do, get them on campus. So we set about trying to rewire campaigns very quickly toward a virtual experience. But a significant part of that is helping parents understand that they can move forward right now. Even though they may not be able to step foot on campus, they can still move forward with confidence and do their homework. So we started with this question: how can a school pivot its lead generation strategy quickly without blowing the budget? And the solution that we developed, which follows that model that Kaleen mapped out earlier, that marketing funnel, is called Research. Completely ready to go online advertising campaign to help you pivot quickly right now. It's the Google and social ads that are already designed, already written, the call to action graphic for the website, landing page that has the animated intro video, the ebook, that lead magnet, which is Research, a guide for finding the right private school without leaving home, a lead nurturing sequence that can be dropped into MailChimp or whatever tool that you use, in a series of social posts. We're actually in the process, like we recommended earlier. I saw Angela had a comment around. So how do we transition right now? What should we use for those lead magnets? How do you do this virtually is a question that families are asking. And then what is school going to look like? So we're currently building out an extension of this campaign that schools can use to answer those questions in a way that's digestible, even without a very high level of certainty with what it's going to look like. There are certain questions that you should be prepared to answer to encourage families, whether it's on campus or online. We've got this. So what's included in that? The lead magnet assets, Google and social account setup, placing the ads, tracking and optimizing performance. So we have a DIY program for research. We also have a do it for me and a do it all for me platform. And if you're interested in learning more about that, this is what it looks like to get started at the bottom. You can go to northstarmarketing.com/research and learn more about what that looks like. There's a cool little animated video there that you can watch. It'll give you a quick overview. I just wanted to make sure I touched on a couple of those questions. So yeah, the offer heading into the summer, make sure that you have converted your plan in whatever state it's in to be part of your marketing strategy, because parents want to know, are you prepared and is this a safe move? We don't have all the answers yet, because I'm sure government will have a lot to say about what school's going to look like as it gets closer, as that information tends to change by the day. Are we going to have this sort of second wave boomerang effect? Who knows? We won't know until we get closer. But we do know you plan to be operating in the fall, which means you have to have a strong enrollment, and there are parents that are willing to pay for an excellent experience, whether it's on campus or online. So you need to communicate that to them and make sure that your marketing funnel expresses that, and then give them the tools they need to work through. So whether it's research or some other tool, help them understand, give them a framework for how to navigate making school selection in this crazy season. So let's see, there's a question there from Bethany. Rick, do you want to make a run at that, or Clark?
Yeah, thanks, Bethany. You're asking the question about what's the best way to release your admissions team to track communications with leads. And it partly may be, the need for a system that will be effective to help you manage that flow like a CRM would. So School Admin is a system that I always recommend. I had, the team from School Admin on a few weeks ago talking about lead nurturing and how that works through their system. There are other systems out there, certainly, whether it's Blackbaud or Fax or Veracross, all those have certain elements of that tracking. The key is to utilize what's there and to understand what the flow is. Sometimes you have to use outside systems like a MailChimp to develop your lead nurturing sequence, or a HubSpot to help you in that process. And so there's lots of things to consider, certainly. And that's where that, one-on-one evaluation consultation really, focuses in on understanding where you're at as a school and how to best help you as you move forward. So certainly, we have a few more minutes to engage with other questions that you may have. So if you do have a question, put that in the comment box. If you've liked the show and all that you've learned from Clark and Andy and Kaleen, I would invite you to click that like button, show some love and appreciation for the live show, because I know that we've certainly enjoyed having you a part of this show during this hour together. So anything else you guys want to share as we wrap up today? Andy, Clark, or Kaleen?
Kaleen, how about you?
I would just encourage you. It's going to be a unique summer. It's not going to be an admission summer like we've had before. I would encourage you just to stay diligent. I know I've spoken with many just in this week that are pretty burnt out and tired. So I would encourage you to persevere and really look into ways where you can automate some of this, whether that's MailChimp or a team like North Star to help you in navigating the summer, because it's not going to be a summer break. There's a lot of work to do, and July and August will be, I think, a little bit of a heavy workload, but I think the work will pay off as you implement some of the strategy.
Anything else, Clark, Andy?
Yeah, I'd say just, Clark? As you reimagine, kind of what that new buyer journey looks like for your prospective parents, your biggest goal is to marry that up with your school admissions process. So you're meeting them along the way, and you can literally, by coming up, that last question, Rick handled, if you've got specific types of assets and emails that you've thought through in your nurturing funnel to really address the questions that those prospective parents have, that's going to be so helpful. And that's one of the areas we get involved with so much, is to come up with creative ways to do that. But once they convert into a lead, what are the questions they have that need to be answered in order to get them through to a tour, a virtual tour or on-site tour, whether it's going to be. And there are things that you can deliver them along the way to get them to the next step. And then once they come in for the tour, what do you need to deliver? What are the questions they have? Maybe it's Rick's a big advocate of the Parent Ambassadors program. Maybe it's having an ambassador contact them to talk about their experience with the school, review videos. There's a lot of things that you can do there to help answer questions that they need to know to make that enrollment decision. So yeah, we'd love an opportunity to work on things like that. And it's something that I know we're passionate about. So thanks.
Andy, any final words of wisdom here?
Just get in your audience's head. That's where the answers are. What are the questions they're asking? What are the emotions they're experiencing? And don't be afraid to try stuff. The worst thing you can do is go dark. So keep it positive. Enjoy your summer. Try to automate as much as possible so you have plenty of time for yourself too. But Rick, thanks for having us. It's always a pleasure.
And thank you, Clark and Andy and Kaleen. And I can't put any higher recommendation out there for the team at North Star. That's why I recommend them all the time to schools. They can partner with you. They can help you in a many different strategies to be able to implement that effectively, just like you've seen here today. So if we can help you as a team, glad to do that along the way, but wish you a great rest of your week. And as you transition into the summer months, wear those sunglasses, enjoy some sunshine, and hopefully life will get back to a little bit of normal in your part of the world. So we're signing off. So thank you very much. Appreciate it, Clark and Kaleen and Andy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.